Welcome to Eternos Academy. Let's get off to a flying start. This is day one. I guarantee you, right? I am giving you tools that you can use for the rest of your life. You can finish this week with everything that I've taught you and become an absolute beast in your field and in your space. And this isn't just about business. We're looking at who you are as a person, because I like to say that a business, right, is a reflection of you. There's no such thing as a bad business. Anyway, it's just bad business owners. But please pay attention. Please focus. I'm handing you something precious that I personally designed and shaped over years. And I'm doing it for free because I genuinely want people to understand and see that these things don't have to be complex. I don't want to waste your time. We've got 1 week. Let's get into what we're going to be focusing on the first day. Okay. Don't be too confused by this. I'm going to explain this in a way that's simple. This is called Johari's window. If you look at it, we have different sections. We have what's known to others, what's not known to others, what's known to yourself, and what's not known to yourself. This whole window is about you. Each segment is a part of yourself. There are things which you know about yourself and things that others know about you. All right? This is the open zone. You know, things like your age, the color of your hair, the stuff we post maybe on social media, that's all in this open zone. And there's a reason why I'm telling you this. So please lock in. Okay? Then we have the things that you know about yourself that are hidden to others. You know, maybe you have a little addiction that you're dealing with. Maybe, you know, you have some things that you've gone through or things that you do on the side that you don't tell people about, etc., etc. That's all here. So I hope these first two sections make sense. Then we have the stuff that other people know and how they perceive you, but you don't know yourself. And this is what we call the blind spot, a very important spot. Okay. And most coaches, when they deal with people, this is where Johari's window stops. They only deal with the blind spots and they don't venture further because they don't know how to. How do people perceive you? Let's say, you know, I assume most of you here have your own business or are looking to start one or run your own company. You have people working for you. You might have employees, or at the most minimal basic level, if you're a consultant, you're working with people. How do they perceive you? Because you can think that people love you, but as soon as you leave the room, they talk negatively behind your back and hate how you come across. Okay. Now that is a blind spot. There are certain characteristics, traits, and habits that you may have that other people can see and other people dislike or even like about you that you're not aware of yourself. But this zone, which is the zone that I specialize in accessing and unveiling, is what's known as the unknown. And these are the things that you're not aware of and within yourself, and the other people aren't really aware of within you either. Okay. How does the unknown become known is the question that people ask when it comes to this zone. You have to go through a process of unveiling, a process of identifying. Okay. Now, even if you're in this zone up here, if you're too scared to talk to people and the people around you won't tell you about yourself, or you have too much pride and ego, then you still have to go through this process of identifying. But I want you guys to remember this because this week we're going to refer back to this a lot. This is the core idea of today's lesson. You cannot change what you cannot see. You cannot change what you cannot feel. You are not at 100% capacity right now, which means you have, let's just say, the opportunity to grow, which is a good thing. But in order to grow and to change, you need to learn to see more and feel more. You need to learn to see more and feel more, because if you can see more and feel more, you know more. And that's how we then get out of this unknown area and we start to move to the left side of this window. Okay. But this is the core idea. If you can't see something within yourself, you can't change it. If you don't know you have an issue, you're never going to deal with the issue. This is why people say ignorance is bliss. Ignorance isn't bliss. Ignorance is killing my people. But you must learn to feel more to change more. You must learn to see more to change more. I want you guys just to remember this, right? Have this ingrained in your mind, right? As I'm going through what I'm going through today, just keep thinking about this. Okay, this is another core principle I need you guys to understand, and it's called the law of first mention. What I'm doing is I'm first trying to help you guys see what I'm going to do and how I'm going to work within you in the most simplest way possible. So right now I'm just explaining a few concepts and things that exist within every human being, that exist within you, that we're going to work on to help you run your company and provide your service, interact with your clients, then not carry that stress home, right? Do everything better, basically. This is how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to show you how you can do it within yourself within this week. This is the process that I've gone through, okay? But let's carry on. The law of first mention. When you first experience or are taught something for the first time, you are inclined to believe and attach to that experience and lesson. What that means is, let's say you're a kid and your mom comes up to you and you see a car drive past and it's a Lambo and there's someone in there, right? And your mom says to you, oh, that person's rich. They did a lot of bad things to get there. Rich people are evil. What it means is it takes a lot more work for you later on in life to be convinced that rich people aren't evil, because the first time you were introduced to the wealthy, you were taught that they are evil. This is the law of first mention. And it is very difficult then for someone else to change your mind on this thing, which is why most of the time when it comes to things such as religion that people are born into, when it comes to people's beliefs about money, in my opinion, the best way to change and reform the mind is to actually have that person go through their own process. Okay. And that's why I refer to myself as a guide, someone who just presents people with options. I show people a different way. Whether you choose to take that way or not is completely in your hands, but I never force people. I just present people with options and I explain and I show them what's worked for me and what's worked for others, how I've got into rooms, how I've got into spaces, how I've built the connections that I've built, seen the results that I've seen with other people, right? It's all just a science. I present it to people and it's up to them whether they want to override the laws of first mentions that exist. But we're going to go into this, okay? So just so you've caught up with me so far, because I like to keep things simple, this slide basically is saying that when you're taught something for the first time, you hold on to it. This slide is basically saying that if you don't know something's going on within you, you can't change it, so you need to know. And this slide is basically just showing you that there are things about yourself that you don't know that we're going to uncover in the most simplest way possible. I hope you're with me so far. Let's carry on. So we've already said you cannot change what you cannot see. You cannot change what you cannot feel. A lot of business owners are stuck. Someone making 10K a month can see themselves as stuck in the same way someone making 50K a month can see themselves as stuck. They are both stuck at different places, but the word stuck means different things for different people. But what applies to everyone, or what is universal, is the fact that you think, or most people think, I assume you think, that when you're not making enough money or the money that you want to, you assume it's a revenue problem. So you believe that the cycle that you're trapped in is a cycle of not being able to make more money. But in reality, the cycles that most business owners are stuck in are cycles they are unaware of, which is why I showed you this. What if I told you the cycle that you're stuck in, or the reason why you're struggling to go and grow to the next level and evolve as a person, isn't because of anything that you think you can identify? You give me a list of 100 reasons. What if I was to tell you it's probably none of those reasons? Now, thankfully, due to the internet, more and more people are starting to realize that they have to deal with certain things internally, but most people still ignore that part of themselves. And business is still a fairly male-dominated space, which is funny because emotions in general and the emotional tendencies within humanity are more prevalent within women. What that sentence means is that women tend to be more emotional, yet business is a male-dominated space, which is funny because women have inherently better connections to their emotional side, which means that women should really be able to dominate business in ways that men may find a bit more difficult. But that's also why, if in your company you can partner with and work with the right women, your business can fly as well. But we'll teach on the alchemy of masculine and feminine and all those other sweet little things in my initiates part of this academy. This is just 1 week to change your perspective and to change your life. So let's carry on. I don't want to digress. The cycles that you are trapped in that you're often unaware of are emotional cycles. When I say emotional cycles, I don't just mean experiencing an emotion, because people will tell you I'm an angry person. They recognize they carry anger. People will tell you I'm impatient. People will tell you I'm depressed, I'm sad. It's not that, but there's a specific cycle that goes on right? And this is what people are blind to. It's another thing I need to point out and say, sorry, is that everyone is a slave to their emotions, whether they want to admit it or not. If you haven't done the work that I'm going to show you, or you weren't spawned onto this planet with this great advantage, more likely than not, you're a slave to your emotions. But that's fine, because this isn't the type of slavery where you can't break free. This is the type of slavery where really and truly, the chains that are on your hands, they're unlocked. They're not locked. You're not actually bound. You can just take them off and run and be free whenever you want to. It's very simple. But I'm a visual guy, so let me give you a visual example. Let's say you're 10. You make music. You want to show your parents your music, okay? This is the source. What do you feel? The emotion, excitement. From that emotion, there's an action, and that action is showing your parents your music. The result, they tell you to focus on your studies and disapprove, whatever you want to call it. They basically say, nah, I ain't into this music thing. You got to stop doing this music. Focus on your studies. You won't make money from music. You'll never succeed in music, but you should go be a doctor, all right? This happens in African culture a lot. What? You want to be a creator? Nah, doctor, dentist, this, that, etc., okay? Then what happens, right? I want you to remember this picture and this cycle. Bam, 13 years old. Source, you want to release your first song. Emotion, well, you feel fear now due to the prior experience with your parents. So action, you don't release that song. You don't show them. You don't do what you need to do. And then the result of that is that you don't grow. On to the next. Now you're 30 and you're in a, let's say you're working for a company now, you never really pursued the music, but let's say you're starting to step out a little bit and you really want to now launch into business and do what you want to do. So you have an idea to launch your first product. Source, emotion, well, that same fear that you experienced as a child at 10 years old because you wanted to show and reveal your work to people and they disproved comes up again at 30 years old. Fear due to earlier experiences with parents come up. So then what happens on the action side is you're either too hesitant to launch, so you don't, or you do it half-heartedly. And as a result, just like it was before, there's no growth. There's a loss of growth. Look at how a single event from when you are 10 years old can still stick with you internally when you're 30, 40, 50. Then eventually you just become so addicted to these emotions that it's like, oh, this is just the way life is. I don't agree with that. I don't. And guys, I am young. I realized this. Growing up in my teens, I used to sit with the elders and listen. And I'm not just talking elders within one certain community, different communities, different religious backgrounds, different histories, right? And listen to these people talk. And this is how I derived these patterns. As a child, you sit with enough people and just absorb what they're telling you. You begin to see that people are stuck in these cycles and it really does make or break you. It will make or break your business. It will make or break how successful you become. So I want you guys to please understand these cycles. But it's only really when I teach these things that I get really passionate because this is what I love to do. This is honestly what I love to do. And this is the bread and butter of it. If you take what I'm showing you guys, I guarantee you guys will prosper. And that's what I want. I want you guys to do well. Okay, so let's look at this emotional cycle once more. This is day one. We're still on day one. So for today, and by the way, if you want to stretch this out over 2 weeks, you can. But for now, for today, try and understand this. Okay, what then happens on the back of this is you feel a certain type of way. And this is now at your current age. You feel a certain type of way and you mistake it for your intuition. So you think, oh, I am going to launch my first product, but I feel very scared. I feel like I shouldn't. Most people now, because they want to seem spiritual or they feel as if they have some sort of spiritual connection, or they go into a religious setting and are convinced they have a connection and a relationship with God, will say things like, oh, God doesn't want me to do it right now, because they feel that fear. They'll mistake it for intuition, or they say, oh, my intuition or my gut is telling me I shouldn't do this. No, it's not. And no, God isn't, unless, of course, you're hearing an audible voice and you've built up that rapport, which is something that I teach in my initiate program when it comes to communicating with God. And that's completely separate, right? Most of the time it's this. It's just because you experience something as a child, and there's an emotion that's attached to that experience. You have formative years as a child. So from 0 to 7, you're basically absorbing a lot of information. the majority of information that you hold on to, sorry, throughout your life, you absorb between the ages of 0 and 7. And so this intuition and stuff is really just self-sabotage due to bad experiences that you've had as a child. So the way in which you feel is a direct result of the things you experienced prior in your life and all the negative experiences and positive that you have gone through growing up. In simple terms, your whole life, the actions that you take, the choices that you make are all just repeated emotional cycles. I could show you 1,000 examples of this. And if you take your life and actually sit down and think about it, almost every decision that you make is through this loop. And this is why I said identify, because today is all about identifying this process, this loop, and understanding what's actually going on. Because you think it's you making choices, but what's actually happening is it's your past emotional experiences that are making these choices. In here, I spoke about music, right? Or your passion, but this goes for money, relationships, business, almost every aspect of your life. It's the past you, right? It's your past experiences, the emotion that was connected to it that's now ingrained in your identity that you're then drawing upon and you're relying upon, then is making these decisions. So this is how you get trapped in a cycle. And oftentimes in business, you get stuck, or once you hit a certain place, you're not ready to move on because of all these past experiences. Maybe you believe that, you know, if you move up and scale beyond a certain point in your business, you'll become too visible. And so there'll be a target on your back and you'll think that people will kill you because growing up, you were taught and shown that everyone of your particular demographic, for example, once they reach a certain level, get killed. I know that sounds pretty extreme, but it's the kind of stuff that I've had to help people get through and get over. So anyway, that's day one, guys. I just wanted to identify that cycle. And today's task is to complete an audit sheet. So there'll be an audit sheet attached to this lesson. It should be underneath, it will be a PDF. And what I want you to do is I want you to identify one pattern or one cycle in your life. And I want that one cycle to be the one thing that you believe you struggle the most with. That one emotion, that one pattern, okay? And I want you to come back tomorrow, or if you're busy the day after, or whenever you come back to day 2, no stress, guys, knowing what your main pattern is. Okay, so that's it. That's day 1. I want you guys to remember this is the emotional loop. You can't change what you can't see. You can't change what you can't feel. This will help you see and feel more. I also want you to remember that when you're taught something for the first time, you often cling on to it. And I want you to remember that there are parts about yourself that you don't know about that we're going to help uncover. With that, guys, I'll see you tomorrow.